So when I have reviewed over the material that we had for the reading articles, I liked the first one because it said research has proven that the answer is never too late. It is only harder. And I can agree with that because it is never too late to learn to read, and it brings me back to like the Civil War era when African Americans weren't educated to read, but they still tried to get out there and make that effort to read. So it never is too late. It is harder, but I think it becomes to be only as hard as you make it. And if you really have the drive to try to learn to read, then you can get out there and do so. And research such as Louisiana Moats and Barbara Footman at the University of Houston Medical Center, they agreed there with that, and they tried and true techniques applied over targeted instructional sessions make a long difference for struggling readers. Some readers display different reading behaviors. One thing that we learned about poor readers is that they are highly heterogeneous. That is, that they do not display the same type of reading impairment. Reading behaviors. Some as poor readers have specific problems learning to read new words, accurately applying them, regular mapping between poor and phonological recoding and decoding. And I can see that. Like, some of them don't necessarily understand the story that they're reading, but they understand the words that they're saying. So, when it comes to retaining the information versus reading the actual words, it all depends on the student and what problems that they have. Assertions about the incidence of comprehension impairments and secondary level struggling readers presume the readings can be separated into specific components across multiple grade levels, and these components across multiple grade levels. I think I messed up on my notes. These components have different developmental trajectories. And being in the military, I understand the difference of trajectories. You can aim for something all day long, but you might not hit it. So if you're aiming to get them to read the words, but you only hit on the fact of comprehension, how are they supposed to understand reading the words? They understand the story, but they don't understand the words that are getting there. So I can agree with that too. And on the last article, the video that we watched and stuff, we need to teach all the children to read at least as much as we can. And I can agree with that because we're only as good as the students that we teach. And if they don't know how to read, then how are we supposed to teach them? And you have to work with each individual person, bettering yourself every day and moving on there forward with that. I agree with all these things. I think that each one of them has something different or important with each one, and reading is so important, or else, African Americans back in the day wouldn't have tried to read. Students these days don't have the desire to read, but they don't understand it. That's why we're here trying to help them. And reading is so important because if something says hot and you touch it, well, then you get burned, and nobody wants to get burned. So, yeah.